Hello and welcome to News of Faith podcast, brought to you by Rev. James Wesley from Worldwide Online Ministry. Check us out at worldwideonlineministry.com. To be on this podcast, send an email to rev.jamesw@yahoo.com.
Warning, this is a family-friendly radio. Children of all ages are welcome to participate.
This is my grandpa's talk show. And now for our latest news.
Hello everyone, and welcome to our first episode this year. We had a little problem getting started, but we're back at it. I'd like to tell you a little bit about our 2017 show. We're doing a little different. We're doing a little thing. A lot of things are the same, but some of the things we're going to change a little bit and have some special people on here with interviews and just talk about the Lord and how great He is, how much He's done in our lives, and how much we appreciate what He does for us. We're going to have some guests like June Lewis and Katrina Bills, and we're going to have Anthony Ridholler on here, and he's going to talk about his new book. And we're just going to have a little bit of variety of different people, pretty much like it was before, only this time we are doing it full steam ahead. And I'd like to take this time to explain to everybody why I haven't done anything this year. Back in January, I was getting ready to start up a new year for my podcast, and this is on January 9th, and I had a heart attack. And so, what they done, they rushed me to the hospital. A massive heart attack is what they called it. Anyway, they was talking, while they was putting me in the ambulance, and one of the EMTs had told my family that I wouldn't make it to the hospital. So they were pretty much hurt over this. And so my aunt, she followed the ambulance with me to the hospital, but before they took off, right after this fella had told my family that I wouldn't make it to the hospital, I was laying on the gurney, and they was hooking me up to some IVs and oxygen and different things. They was putting some of those nitroglycerin pills under my tongue and doing their best to keep me with them. I'm laying there and I'm thinking, Lord, come with me. And, that was my thought. Lord, come with me. And the door was still open in the ambulance. And before they got ready to leave it, this other fella got on there in the ambulance with me. And there was like 3 people in there. And they told the driver, said, okay, take off. You can go now. And so this one fella, he looked at me. And he says, God is with you. And you're going to be okay. Well, I found out that this fellow that said that was a doctor. And it just happened to be his turn to ride around in the ambulance for the day. I have different doctors take turns riding so they can get the feel of what it's like out on the road in the ambulance. So they was telling everybody, that, my blood pressure, it was 60 over something. It really dropped. And they had the oxygen piece in my nose. And the next thing I know, they threw the big mask over the top of my face. And they kept asking me, what is my pain from 1 to 10? And I kept telling them 15. To me, that was way over the scale because I've never had a heart attack before or any problems at all. So I didn't have anything to compare that to. But I knew it was really bad. And when I got to the hospital, they took me in, and the fellow that done the surgery on me, they was going to put a stent in my heart. And the fellow that did the surgery kept telling me, calm down so I can concentrate. Well, yeah, it's kind of hard to do, And so this one nurse was cutting my T-shirt off of me, and another nurse was taking my boots and my pants off. And then the doctor told him to put a morphine patch on my chest. I would think it would be about an 8x8 square morphine patch that they did put on my chest. So they kept asking me how much the pain was, and I told them it was still 15. So they went in through my leg, the main artery to my leg, and run a tube up to my heart so they could run the camera and the stent up into my heart. All of a sudden, I was just, I no pain, And the doctor asked me what my pain was now from a 1 to 10, and I says, 1, maybe a 2. And he says, we lost you 3 times while we was putting the stent in your heart. Had to use the paddles to bring you back. But he said, you're going to be okay. So they took me up to the ICU and put me in a regular bed and watched over me for most of that day. This was getting late in the evening. It was like 5 o'clock when they took me to the hospital. But I was laying there, and I thought nothing's wrong. My chest hurt a little bit, and they said that would be normal because of the heart attack and from using the paddles 3 times on me. So by the next day, the pain started going away. It was a mild, kind of like just a chest pain, not really like anything was happening to me. And this was on a Tuesday when they did all this. And the doctor looked at me, and he says, do you know who I am? I says, no. He says, I just saved your life. I'm thinking, okay. And the other doctor that was riding in the ambulance, he came in later on, and he looked at me, and he says, I sure am glad to see you. And I told him, I says, well, I'm sure glad I can see you too, because I said, I heard that I left you guys 3 times, and they started calling me the miracle patient. So everybody was talking about it. One guy had stopped the doctor when they was taking me back to the room. He says, is this your miracle patient you was talking about? And he says, yeah, this is him. So, Phil, the nurses and everybody came in, and they was all saying that everybody was saying this, Well, my father-in-law came up to see me that night. He had a big grin on his face, and he said that everybody on the first floor was talking about you being the miracle patient. And so, I'm really blessed that God was with me when I asked him to come with me, and that he walked through the doctor and in helping me to recover. And I was in the hospital for like 4 days. I got out on Friday the 13th. So that was my luckiest Friday the 13th I'd ever had. And I went home and recovered. I was really wore out from all that, and they told me to rest and everything. I couldn't drive for a couple days. And so I'd get up in the morning, and I'd make it a couple hours, and I was just wore out. So I'd go back to sleep for a while. I'd get up and make it a couple more hours. And as the days went by, the time got a little bit easier on me for staying up. And so now it's been 2 months now, and I've recovered pretty good, and went to the doctor for a follow-up last week and asked him how much damage it did to my heart. Because a lot of people, they have a lot of damage, and it's amazing. Some people only have 10% of their heart that functions after a heart attack like that. The doctor told me, he says, you have little to no damage to your heart. And he says, what little bit it did do, it will heal on its own. So, God works in some strange ways. Even though you don't know he's there, he is. And sometimes I think, what would happen to me if I hadn't asked the Lord to come with me in that ambulance, being that the EMTs had told my family that I wouldn't make it to the hospital. But then when the doctor got up in the ambulance and he told me that God was with me and that I was going to be okay, that was the answer that God gave him to let me know that he was with me. And I thank him every day that he gave me this second chance. And all my life, I've never had any problems, no medical problems whatsoever. And it's just the feeling that came and went. It was a one-day thing, more or less, to me, because I went through all that, and the next day I was fine. And so anyway, the doctor told me his next checkup is in 6 months. They've got me on some medication to take every day for the heart, for the blood, for the cholesterol, and things like that, and the baby aspirin. But I can live with that. It's just a miracle that God had touched me in that way. So anyway, I just want to let everybody know why I haven't been on my podcast this year yet, and this is why. But we're all full force now. We're ready to go. We're ready to get some new people in here and some old people that we've had on here before. Not old people, but people that we've had on here before. We're glad that we'll be able to bring some of them back and give some of their testimonies and things. And just to let everybody know that when I left them 3 times in that operating room, I did not see any lights, no bright lights. I didn't see any angels. I didn't see myself from the ceiling looking down at my body. Maybe a little disappointed in that, but I'm just thankful that I didn't, because I might not have been able to come back. And so we're going to start this new episodes here and see how it goes. And we hope everybody enjoyed this testimony that I just gave. And if anyone wants to send me a message or anything, you can just send a message to rev.jamesw@yahoo.com, and we'll be looking for your comments and messages there. And until the next episode, when we have someone on the show to give their testimonies, I hope everybody else has a blessed day, and keep your faith, because without faith you can do nothing. God's in complete control of everyone's lives, and he proved that to me, and he can prove it to you also if you just listen and obey his word. So thanks for listening. Join us again next time here on News of Faith, Podcast for Christ. See ya.